Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. Today on the program, a deadly van explosion in Basilan kills 11 people.
Paglapit ng mga scout ranger at saka mga nag-surround yung castle, so yun na, pumutok na yung van.
The military vows to track down the mastermind behind the attack.
We cannot say that this is a foreign terrorist or a foreigner driver because he himself was killed in the blast.
Also, a shakeup in the leadership at the House of Representatives.
Right now, ang pinaka-importante rito is to have a real voice, no? The opposition voice in Congress.
And a look at the priority legislations at the Senate. And the president's vow to continue his relentless war on drugs. Senator Panfilo Lacson joins us live. And later, live like a king and experience one of India's luxurious trains. That's for today's In Focus. Thank you for joining us. I'm Pinky Webb. Malacanang condemns the bombing in Lamitan City in Basilan that killed 11 people and calls it a war crime. The military is now looking into the group behind the attack and vows to beef up security in the area. Also, the battle for leadership at the House of Representatives continues, and the question remains on who will lead the true House minority. Let's go straight to the source of the story. We have Senator Panfilo Lacson. Senator, so good to see you again.
Pinky, magandang umaga, and thank you for having me today.
We're happy you're here, sir. So much to talk about, but let's talk about what happened yesterday, because I saw your tweet about the van explosion in Lamitan City, Basilan, sir. You called it a suicide bomb, didn't you?
Yeah, because that was the initial finding, no? And I said it's frightening and worrisome, to say the least, because it's the first time that a suicide bombing case occurred in the Philippines. And my fear is, what if there's a spillover to highly populated urban centers? Then we have a big problem. And that's why I also advised the government, in general, especially the security officers, to step up their intelligence and security capability, especially government installations, because who knows? Because once it is confirmed to be a suicide bombing case, then we should really step up.
So are you still cautioning against calling it a suicide bombing, just to be clear, sir?
Because investigation is still ongoing, and there's no confirmation yet if it was indeed a suicide bombing.
But all indications point to what, sir, from the initial investigation?
All indications point to a suicide bombing.
It was the AFP, Colonel Edgar Arevalo, who was saying that the checkpoints have proven to be successful, sir, because that van loaded with IEDs could have been on its way to a public area, which you possibly mentioned, sir, mentioned that could possibly happen, and wreak more damage and havoc. Are you quite satisfied, sir, that there were checkpoints put in place at napigil po ang mas mapinsalang pangyayari?
Yeah, that's conclusive enough, because if not because of the checkpoint, then more damage and more lives could have been lost. No? While, and the van was checked doon sa checkpoint mismo, and it was preempted somehow, no? Or somewhat. Pero unfortunately, yun nga, 11 people died, including a 10-year-old child. So it's still worrisome.
Yeah, sir. Senator, how do we prevent a similar incident from happening? Because if we were to use the line that it was a suicide bombing, how can you stop something like that?
It's difficult to stop, but you know, from where I came, it's intelligence. No, intelligence should prompt the government forces to do some proactive offense. No? There's no other way. Because if you're not being proactive, you will be caught flat-footed.
Mindanao is still under martial law, sir.
Yes.
Has this helped in any way, the declaration and imposition and martial law still being maintained there? Did that help the situation in any way or
if
form?
at all psychologically, because martial law or no martial law, if you look at the provisions in the Constitution, there are no extra powers available to the president, because the writ of the habeas corpus has not been suspended. No, there are no warrantless arrests. No, more than what is already in the Bill of Rights or in the Constitution or in the rules, existing rules and existing laws.
So should martial law be maintained in Mindanao, sir?
Well, it's helping actually the administration of President Duterte because, as I said, at least psychologically, people are, following or showing some obedience to the military.
All right, let me shift topics, sir. The row at the House of Representatives continues on who is supposed to be the minority leader. When the speaker became Gloria Macapagal Arroyo from Pantaleon Bebot Alvarez, sir, you had a tweet, sir, that said what happened was low, disgraceful. What else, sir? What
Ugly, awkward. Yeah.
Okay.
Kulang pa.
Ano pa ba, sir?
Anyway, it was the manner of the takeover that I was referring to, not the change in the leadership in the lower house, because that's their business. But the timing and the manner by which the speakership was taken over, yun ang may problema. Because it was there for all to see, I was talking to an ambassador yesterday. He paid a courtesy call to my office, and that was one of the more prominent topics that we discussed, because he was there and he witnessed, and he shared my view that it was indeed awkward. It was not supposed to be or not supposed to have happened that day, because it was the President's Day.
Right. If you were a congressman at that time, sir, what would you have done?
No, even if I'm not a congressman, I feel ashamed for what happened in the lower house, as every Filipino should be ashamed. Yeah.
All right. The House Minority Leadership, sir, is still ongoing. There are three. I'm not sure if you're completely monitoring this, but there are three people vying for the minority leadership. You have Congressman De Vera, you have Congressman Miro Kimbo, and you have Congressman Danilo Suarez. Sir, just want to get your thoughts on this.
Well, I can only speak for the Senate, because at least in the Senate, the lines are clearly drawn. Who are with the majority and who are with the minority, and who should be minority leader, who should be majority leader. Very clear yan. Pag nagkaroon ng election, of course, lahat ng bumoto sa Senate President, yun, mga majority yun. And then, among ourselves, pipili kami kung sino yung majority floor leader. In fact, even before the takeover of a new Senate President.
You mean the minority?
No, majority muna.
Okay.
Pinili na namin, okay, sino yung, kasi, alam mo, in our case, in this instant case sa Senate, Senator Tito took over from Senator Pimentel. Hindi itong biglaan, kundi, okay, we sign a resolution, and if we are able to gather 13 signatures, then that's it. Kakausapin yung incumbent, Senate President, Mr. Senate President, I have here 30 signatures. Kailan ba natin implement ito? Ganun ka-polite. And then, among ourselves, sino ba yung gusto mag-majority leader? Of course, not so many would want to volunteer kasi ang Senate Majority Leader, yan yung naiiwanan talaga sa floor hanggang sa matapos yung mag-adjourn. Yung minority, whoever is contesting the Senate presidency, more likely magiging minority leader. If not, those who did not vote for the Senate President, yun naman ang mamimili kung sino minority leader. It's that easy. And I don't see how it would be different in the House of Representatives. Because the minority leadership is internal to the minority group. Hindi pwedeng pakialaman ng majority, hindi pwedeng pakialaman ng Senate President kung sino yung magiging minority leader. Otherwise, company union yun. Di ba?
Company union ho ba nangyayari ngayon sa House of Representatives if, sir, Danilo Suarez stays as minority floor leader?
Well, it depends on his demeanor, after being chosen as minority leader. Of course, there's a big debate on his qualification to be minority leader because in the first place, he voted for Speaker Arroyo. So sa amin, outright, hindi siya pwedeng maging minority.
Dapat majority na siya.
Majority
Automatic.
siya. Unless, eventually, he would bolt the majority group and join the minority and then contest the minority leadership. Pwede yun.
Okay.
Pero hindi naman po pwede siguro siyang tanggapin as minority leader kung nagboto siya tapos the following day or the same day, sasabihin niya, alis na ako sa majority, iboto niyo ako piliin yung minority. So it seems that in the House, even during the time of Speaker Alvarez, mukhang yung ganun din na nangyari. Mukhang company union din yung I'm sorry kay Minority Leader Suarez kasi kaibigan ko rin naman si Danny Suarez, but medyo awkward nga yung ganun situation na kapartido or kaalyado ng Speaker of the House yung minority leader. So how could he effectively represent the minority group kung tao naman siya ng Speaker ng House of Representatives?
So what does that technically make the House of Representatives, sir, if Danilo Suarez stays as minority leader? Kasi supporter po siya ni GMA. That is a fact.
That's a fact, yes.
Okay. Tapos minority leader ho siya. So sabi niyo, pwedeng, it could seem like a company union. But sino ho ba ang magpapasimuno that Danilo Suarez should stay as minority leader?
Ang dapat mamili ng minority leader, yung minority group. And kung merong factions, kung sino yung pinakamalaking numero na faction, yun ang pipili. And if the other factions eventually decide to join that bigger faction or the biggest faction, edi magsama-sama sila. And then they themselves should choose who should be minority leader. At least I'm speaking for the Senate.
Yeah.
Kasi I don't want to be accused na nag-i-interfere na naman doon sa affairs, which is, meron kaming inter-parliamentary courtesy, or so we say.
Yeah, or so you say. But I guess what I'm asking is, sir, the rules in the Senate do not differ from the rules at the House of Representatives. Tama ho, sir?
Yeah. Pareho lang.
Consistent po yun.
Consistent yung rules. Kasi bicameral system, kung ano yung rules, may mga konting differences, pero very minor. Itong mga major issues like minority, majority, medyo pareho yan. In fact, may jurisprudence dyan eh. Parang yung Supreme Court, I'm not sure, but yung recent ruling ng Supreme Court, before, parang subjective na, sige, bahala na yung House, hindi kami makikialam because of separation of powers. But eventually, I think there's a recent case filed or petition filed na nag-rule yung Supreme Court, somehow, nag-shift from being subjective to objective. Meaning, interpretation talaga ng rules. Kasi meron kaming pinapublish na rules eh. Yun ang guide. At ang sinabi sa Supreme Court, yun nga, yung majority-minority, dapat yan, yung minority leader should be chosen by the minority group. At yung minority group, yun yung mga hindi bumoto sa speaker. I would just like to clarify, na hypothetical itong usapan natin. I'm not necessarily, we're not necessarily parang pointing to the House of Representatives. Although, inevitable naman yan na talaga yun ang pag-uusapan natin.
So let's just clear that out, sir. You're just speaking as if ito yung Senado. Kung ito ang Senado, ito ang
malinaw na rule.
ito ang proseso.
Yan ang nasa rules namin, rules of the Senate.
And if we were to follow the rules of the Senate, if we were to think about that, hindi naman kaiba ang rules sa House of Representatives.
Hindi lalayo. Ganun din.
Lalayo.
Actually, in principle, ganun din.
Okay. But I wanted to, it was...
At saka common sense, di ba? Common sense. Following common sense.
Those who did not...
The law of common sense, yun din ang dapat mangyari, di ba?
Those who did not vote for the Speaker will form part of the minority, or those who voted for the Speaker will form part of the majority.
Yes.
That's the basic rule, sir.
Regardless of party affiliations, di ba?
And that's
kasi sabihin nila, kasi PNP against PNP. Of course, si Danny Suarez is claiming na hindi. Ang partido ko yung kay Vice President Binay. Doon siya sa which is true. But ang alliance naman niya is with Speaker Arroyo.
All right, Speaker Arroyo, we, of course, alam naman po natin, you've had a number of exposés way back, sir, regarding, especially the first gentleman back then. Sir, how do you feel that Gloria Macapagal Arroyo is now Speaker?
Well, just to be clear on where I'm coming from, I have made peace with her. Noong bicameral conference namin ng National ID System, because I chaired the Senate panel in that BICAM meeting, and she, being one of the authors, she was there as one of the panelists ng House contingent. And after we reconciled all the disagreeing provisions, we shook hands And to me, we made up, no? And we made peace. Second, I still believe that no person is beyond redemption. No? With all the ordeal na pinagdaanan niya, no, for all 9 years that, of course, 9 years siyang in power. And then yung 6 years na she was out of power and even incarcerated. No? I've often mentioned this, that, I've often quoted President Kennedy na forgive your enemies, but don't forget their names. And that's what I am right now. I've not forgotten all the names of those who made my life miserable for the past 9 years under the Arroyo administration. A case in point, Romeo Prestosa, the newly appointed Sergeant at Arms, he used to be an intelligence officer. Prestosa, I'm just wondering aloud, or thinking aloud. Why would Speaker Arroyo choose Romeo Prestosa as the Sergeant at Arms? I would warn the members of the House to be wary of their, because this is an intelligence-trained officer. And baka may purpose lang. It cannot be helped na ganito ako mag-isip because of what I experienced. Prestosa, if I recall it right, he was the one who approached Mangkao when he was still in the U.S. Talaga sinadya niya puntahan doon. He was PSG because Mangkao told me na pinangakuan siya reinstatement, promotion, family, resettlement, and everything. Basta mag-execute ng affidavit against me. No matter or regardless kung made up yung testimony or affidavit, basta kailangan dumiin.
Implicate ka.
Yeah, implicate ako. And Mangkao himself told me that right after Prestosa came to him. And he was asking for my guidance. Di sabi ko, wag mong intindihin. Sabi niya, gusto kong pasukan muna to, sir, that's babaliktad ako later. Yung mga ganyan. Sabi ko, never mind. And then, yes, you are correct, sir. And then eventually, he really executed an affidavit na implicating me. So that's, ako lang, because of that experience, of that, and the background of Prestosa, I'm now wondering why, of all people, kasi dami naman din niyang kaalyado sa military noon, why choose Prestosa? Yeah. So, ako, doon sa mga kaibigan ko sa House, especially the members of the minority that are not with the company union, they should watch their back.
We'll be taking a short break. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Still to come, the president promises to continue his relentless war on drugs, and the Philippine National Police is recalibrating its strategy. Senator Panfilo Ping Lacson will still be with us after the break. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. Our guest today is Senator Panfilo Ping Lacson. Sir, so between the two, Speaker Alvarez, Speaker Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, who do you think is the better speaker?
I won't comment on that, Binky, because not on live TV.
Okay, you'll tell me later. And another question, sir. Is Speaker Gloria Macapagal Arroyo an asset or liability to the president, sir?
Well, yes and no. As far as the Senate, after the SONA and after we witnessed what happened in the lower house, we held an all-senators caucus. Before that, we had a majority caucus. And Senator or Senate President Tito was there, and he was presiding, and he was relating to us what transpired before, during, and after the SONA, and what the President told them while they were waiting for the President to deliver the SONA. Ang sinabi niya, and after he relayed to us yung mga usapan nila doon, ang naging reaction kagad namin, parang nag-solidify yung Senate na teka muna, pag-isipan natin mabuti itong charter change. If we will go through it or even lift a finger to initiate a move from the Senate, to go into a joint session or joint resolution with the House. Parang si Speaker Arroyo pa, at that point, I don't know if there will be change in our sentiments. Pero noong, at that particular point, yung Monday, Tuesday, the following day, yes. Yeah. Ang parang naging unifying factor pa si Speaker Arroyo, doon sa mga senador to go against Chacha. Call it wariness, call it, distrust, call it anything you want to call it, pero yun ang naging sentiment. And then when we had our All Senators Caucus, lalong na-reinforced because sumama na yung mga liberal. And funny because Senate President Tito Soto informed the President that, Mr. President, alam nyo, sa change ng leadership, baka mahirapan akong na-convince yung mga kasamahan ko. And he enumerated one by one. Sabi niya, I'm counting with my fingers, sabi niya. 10 na kagad yung tiyak na ayaw. Look, in my group alone, the Macho Black in the Senate.
Macho?
Myself. We call ourselves anyway. Self-serving.
Okay,
Senator
sir.
Ping and Senator Gringo. 3 na kami. Yung 2 kasama ko, sigurado, hindi ko makonvince because pinakulong yan eh. Yung isa nga lang, hindi nahuli. And then, of course, Senator Trillanes, isa pa niya sa napakulong. Count also, add to that the members of the LP
Block.
or LP Block, 5 yun.
Senator Kiko, Senator Bam, Senator
that's
Risa.
8. Yung isa, of course, nakakulong. Pero,
Nakakulong, yeah.
so that's 8. And then, the father of one of our colleagues, inaus niya, pinakulong niya pa.
Senator JV.
That's Senator JV. And then, yung isa naman, dinaya yung tatay, Senator
Senator
Grace. O, di 10 na kagad yun, sabi niya. And then, there are others. And then, when we held that caucus, parang gano'n na nga yung naging sentiment. Stay put tayo. Let's just fold our arms, do nothing, because we may be trapped if we even adopt a joint resolution with the lower house.
So, kasi merong recent press conference si Congressman Aldo Benitez inviting the Senate for a con-ass. Are you saying now that any possibility of a con-ass is as good as dead?
As far as the senators, yes, good as dead. Because we are not adopting any joint resolution that could pave the way for a con-ass. Hindi mangyayari.
So, kung walang con-ass, it's as good as dead, sir, you said, wala ding cha-cha, obviously.
Walang chacha because maski sabihin mo pang
Kon-kon.
kon-kon, ganun pa rin eh. Kailangan pa rin ng participation ng Senate.
Sir, mabilis lang po. Is it because meron ho kayong agam-agam of the possibility of Gloria Macapagal-Arroyo as GMA becoming Prime Minister? Yun ho ba yun?
Yun ang overwhelming sentiment among the senators, not just myself.
That she will be Prime Minister?
That she would aspire to be Prime Minister. Kasi binibilang din namin yung naiiwanang panahon. We'll go on break October, babalik kami ng November, go on break on December, or in December, and then balik kami ng January, break na naman ng February. Bakit kailangan mag-change pa ng leadership? Ano yung end state desired? Yun ang tinitingnan namin. So, these are analysis. We may be right, we may be wrong, but that's the analysis na sinishare ng aming mga kasama sa Senado.
And what about Mayor Sara Duterte? How does she play in all of this, sir?
Well, clearly, parang ito na confirm or na validate nung lunch. Yung recent lunch, yesterday or the other day, because it was a thank you lunch. Thank you for what? Because there were rumors before that she was calling congressmen to support Mrs. Arroyo. But those were rumors at the time. Of course, she has not made any comment to confirm or deny.
Yeah.
Pero sometimes action speaks louder than words, di ba? So, yun. But sa akin lang, ang take ko lang dito is, once, it doesn't show strong leadership on the part of President Duterte. Why? Because once you allow somebody outside of the chain of the government bureaucracy to step in and interfere in what we consider as purely affairs of the national government, medyo may problema.
To be clear, sir, ang pangingialam, I'm interpreting,
Yes.
sir, supposed to be ni Sara Duterte, Mayor Sara Duterte, does not speak well of the
Doesn't
President.
speak well of the much touted strong leadership of the President.
Okay.
Because how could somebody not within the chain of command, of the bureaucracy, intervene or interfere and influence the goings on in the House of
So
Representatives?
how powerful, sir, is Mayor Sara Duterte?
She is politically. She's not only an influencer in the region, in Region 11, not in Mindanao, but on the national political scene.
How did this happen, sir?
I don't know. I don't know.
All right, we'll be taking a short break. This is the source on CNN Philippines. Please stay tuned. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. Our guest today, Senator Panfilo Ping Lacson. Sir, political landscape, we already said, we talked about that briefly a while ago, that nagka-meeting po si SGMA, Mayor Sara, and then that evening, Mayor Sara with NP, the
Yes.
Nationalista Party, sir.
Cynthia Villar.
Yes, sir. So how are you seeing the political landscape? And then, of course, there's this talk of, you know, the president, the Marcoses, and GMA, sir.
Well, everything in this world is relative, no? Especially when we talk of politics in the Philippines. Everything is relative, everything is temporary. How long it will hold, we don't know. But the fact of the matter is, Sara Duterte, Mayor Inday Sara, is a big influence in the national political scene. We don't know kung ano yung, kung saan ang trajectory nito. No? We don't know that. Sa ngayon, nakita natin yung consolidation of powers. No? Yun nga, kinoconsolidate yung mga prominent political parties, NP under the Villars, even the Marcoses of Northern Luzon, of course, some members of the LP who bolted after Pinoy stepped down, and then Lakas, and I don't know if there's still Campi of Mrs. Arroyo, wala na yata. But consolidation ito, for what purpose? We do not know yet. No? But,
And if you were to guess?
hindi ko pa na-process. I'll tell you when I have
Sir,
finished processing.
very briefly, sa Senado po, Train 2, is that something you're likely to support? Kasi sabi po ni Senator Mig Zubiri, parang walang gusto mag-sponsor nito.
Well, I had a bad experience at Train 1. Ano? I worked closely with the DOF. No? Meron kaming amendments sa pag-usapan that could have generated 117 billion in additional revenues on VAT alone. Ang pag-usapan namin, lower VAT from 12 to 10%, but limit or eliminate so many lines of exemptions.
Yes, sir.
143. Imagine, sa buong ASEAN region, tayong pinakamalaki.
143 exemptions natin, sir.
143 lines of exemptions,
Okay.
Parang 59 do sa tax code and 84 do sa special laws. Because every time magpas kami ng special law, meron nakadikit lagi doon na VAT exemptions. So sabi ko, sobra-sobra na. And this is where leakages
Happen.
Diyan nangyayari, mga leakages. Kasi sa computation, mga input VAT, tas exemptions. Let's look at Malaysia, for example. Ang VAT nila is only 6%. Pero ang exemptions nila nasa 14 lang.
Okay.
Yung Thailand, 7%, 25 exemptions. Indonesia, 35 exemptions, 10%. Lahat 10%, tayo lang ang 12. Kaya lang, exemptions natin, 143. Why? Why are we favoring these sectors? Ano? PESA, Co-op, Power, mga sectors na matagal na nagtatamasa doon sa mga incentives, tax incentives. Di ba yung tax incentive, tax holiday, pang-spur lang ito ng, pang-startup lang, di ba? Pero for the longest time, they've been enjoying VAT exemptions.
Okay.
Bakit bigyan na natin ng break yung consumer?
So you're not likely to support any moves for Train 2, sir?
Well, ang Train
Imposition of
2, basically, incentives din. Tatanggalin yung incentives ng mga, yun din, yung mga sectors na yun.
Okay.
Mas lalong mahirapan kumuha ng boto yun. Kasi yung VAT is pass on, ito, direct ang hit sa kanila. Masatamaan sila. So I don't know what is the future of Train 2 in the Senate because yun nga, nobody wants to touch it with a 10-foot pole. Ano?
Okay. Last, mabilis lang po. Did Train 1 work, sir? O nagpahirap po ba siya sa taong bayan?
Nakadagdag sa inflation. No? So many factors, pero yung train is one factor that contributed to inflation that we are having now.
I wish we had more time, but we don't, sir. Senator Panfilo Ping Lacson, maraming salamat po sa
Thank
inyo,
you,
sir.
Ren.
Thank you. And thank you for joining us here on The Source. I'm Pinky Webb. You're watching CNN Philippines.